Real quick, can we look at this Patrick Beverley push on Chris Paul at the end of this Suns-Clippers game? So congratulations to the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers in 6 games. It was a pretty darn good series, all things considered. Very physical. You know, obviously the Clippers were the underdog with no Kawhi. And, you know, they played that role. They embraced that role. And they have been that pretty much every series, even though they were the favorites in the first round. And then in the second round, Utah was wobbly as well. You know, the Clippers, I like seeing the Clippers as the underdog. But let's play this clip real quick of Pat Bev pushing Chris Paul. I didn't like this play at all, y'all. Look, I'm one of those guys who I'll scream it with you. The NBA is kind of soft today, you know. But for me, when I use the term soft, it's more or less about the fakeness when guys like let's say a guy pushes a guy and then the other guy on the other team's like literally they're in their face to face, and he's literally, if he wanted to like swing on him, if he wanted to hit him, you know, he could do it, right? But he's faking like he was going to do something. He's literally waiting for somebody to like hold him back. That's fake. That's soft to me. That's fake tough guy energy. I don't like fake tough guy energy. Right? Stand on what you stand on. If you're going to be about to, like, what are y'all arguing about? Or what are you making threats to a person if y'all breath to breath, smelling what each other have for breakfast, and you don't do anything? Just don't participate in that type of behavior. That's all for me. I look at that as soft. What this is, though, is Bush League from Pat Bev. This is bad. This is unhealthy for the game of basketball. This ain't it, Chief. And I'll tell you why. I've never been a fan of sore losers. And this encompasses a sore loser. Chris Paul then went crazy on your team. He drops 31 points in the second half. He goes 12 of 16 from the field in the second half. He's literally not missing. And that's what you decide to do to him? You push him. He looks you man to man, face to face in your eye. You don't do anything then. And as he walks off, you hit him with the Bush League push. Come on, Pat Bev. Come on, Pat. Like, you better than that, bro. Or at least I thought you were better than that. Like, come on, bro. That's whack. Because you know that comes from him just beating the hell out of y'all. Like, you were so frustrated that Chris Paul was putting it on y'all. You know, it's Chris Paul's former team that you had to do that. And I'm going to tell you what I hate about it even more. First off, Chris Paul's had a stinger in these playoffs. Everybody knows it. You could have easily made him fall to the ground. I mean, hell, that push was a lot harder than the stinger Chris Paul got in the first round against the Lakers. I think he bumped in, was it Cam Johnson that he bumped into? That push was way harder than that. So, I mean, Chris could have got injured again. He just had an MRI on his wrist like yesterday, right? He could have got injured again. You're also trying to get him to respond to you. And you know your team not going to be in the playoffs going forward. That's whack, Pat Bev. Your team's about to get eliminated. So if Chris Paul responds to you, all he can do is hurt himself. Your team is out. Y'all grass. Y'all asses is grasses. Y'all about to get eliminated. So you know your team's not going to be playing basketball in the foreseeable future. Your suspension that you're going to get for that, your 1 or 2 game suspension will be next year. If Chris Paul got suspended, if he retaliated towards you, his suspension will be in the NBA Finals because his team beat yours. So you already lost the game. Now you trying your competitor that beat you fair and square. Now you're trying to Bush League him into getting suspended for the finals? That's whack, Pat Bev. And what makes me the most upset about Pat Bev's push is that's what most fans, again, I cover the game of basketball, so obviously I'm going to remember how good Pat Bev was after game 1, how he locked in on Devin Booker a good chunk of that series, and when he wasn't guarding Booker. Look, Chris Paul struggled most of this series after he returned following game 2. Like, and Pat Bev was on Booker, and Pat Bev was on Chris Paul. And I would tell y'all, Pat Beverley being inserted into that lineup, give Ty Lue a lot of credit, but give Pat Bev some credit as well. He wasn't locked down, but he made plays and made life difficult for both of those gentlemen in Phoenix, in that backcourt. And what makes it so upsetting to me is a lot of fans are going to remember that push more than they're going to remember how good Pat Bev was. You know, that push is the last thing. That push is going to get played for highlights for years to come. For Clipper highlights, we look back at their L that they took. Probably that push is going to stand out more than anything else because Kawhi ain't play. You know what I mean? So Kawhi was out. You're not going to show video of him in the stands, but you will show that push on the court of Pat Bev to Chris Paul. Bush League behavior. He's better than that. I get it. He's frustrated about the loss. I get it. But shake that man's hand and move on with life. You get another chance at him. Clippers are good. If y'all run it back, y'all will be right back where y'all at right now most likely next year. And hopefully with Kawhi Leonard. To Bush League it like that, because Chris Paul ain't do nothing wrong to y'all. Like, are you mad that Phoenix is more healthy than your Clippers team right now? I get it. To do that, it ruins a run. And depending on what Steve Ballmer thought of that, the Clippers owner, wouldn't be shocked one bit if the Clippers like, yo, man, we like what Pat Bev gave us, but around $7-8 million a pop, yo, like, man, I ain't really with all that. Not all that pushing. I mean, that's some sore loser energy. Clippers don't need that around that organization. The narrative already is that the Clippers are always going to clipper. And look at what Pat Bev did. He clippered it. Because to me, this was a heroic loss. Up until that point, the Clippers played their behinds off. What are they ashamed of? Paul George balled out most of the series. Like what? Y'all didn't have y'all star. That's all that. Y'all didn't have y'all number one in Kawhi. To me, it's like, yo, what's wrong with losing without Kawhi in 6 games? That's pretty damn good to me. But that one push, you know, I think that's going to stick with Clipper Nation for quite some time. It kind of culminizes the culture of that team. You know, sore losers. And that is a Bush League move from Pat Bev. I wonder, does he wish he have that one back? That was whack. That was whack.